This is the one-page bill that Nancy Pelosi and Planned Parenthood fear.
Hello, this is Senator Rand Paul. Will you help me in a bold and aggressive campaign to end abortion on demand once and for all? Since the Roe v. Wade decision in 1973, 9 unelected men and women on the Supreme Court have played God with innocent human life. They have invented laws that condemned more than 56 million babies to painful deaths without trial, merely for the crime of being inconvenient. But the good news is Congress has the power to legislatively overturn Roe v. Wade and end all abortion on demand. You see, when the Supreme Court invented the so-called right to an abortion, they left an opening for us in Congress to act on the question of when life begins. In Roe v. Wade, the court ruled, we need not resolve the difficult question of when life begins. The judiciary at this point in the development of man's knowledge is not in a position to speculate as to the answer. The court then admitted that if the personhood of an unborn baby is established, the right to abort collapses, for the fetus's right to life is then guaranteed specifically by the 14th Amendment. Now, what the court was saying, if you look through all the legal mumbo-jumbo, is that we in Congress have the power to legally define when life begins. The same judges who wrote Roe v. Wade actually admitted this. Of course, science has long held that life begins at conception. That's why I'm co-sponsoring the Life at Conception Act, which, by legally defining that life begins at conception, would simply bring the legal definition of life in line with the biological definition, in effect, overturning Roe v. Wade. That's why I hope I can count on you to sign special petitions for both your senators and your congressmen. And if at all possible, I hope I can count on you to make a generous contribution of $50 to the National Pro-Life Alliance's campaign to pass a Life at Conception Act and overturn Roe v. Wade. Your generous contribution of $50 or more will help pay for collecting petitions from up to 1 million Americans and for briefing hundreds of newspaper columnists, editorial writers, and talk radio hosts. The fact is that with enough pressure from dedicated pro-lifers on members of Congress from both parties, you and I can force every member elected as a pro-lifer to either end the slaughter now or face angry voters back home. I have to tell you, from my perspective as a pro-lifer in Congress, that every pro-lifer's activism is essential in our fight against abortion on demand, but I have especially come to appreciate the members of National Pro-Life Alliance. Their members nationwide are perhaps the most active and focused on the ultimate vision of eliminating abortion on demand, not just regulating it. In fact, it is primarily because of National Pro-Life Alliance members that the Life at Conception Act has an all-time record number of House and Senate sponsors. If you can help, just bring public opinion to bear on my colleagues in Congress. I'm convinced that we can get this bill to the forefront of the American debate and ultimately outlaw abortion once and for all. That's why it's vital you sign the petitions I mentioned at once, and please make this massive advertising and petition drive possible by sending a special contribution of $50 to the National Pro-Life Alliance.